Welcome to Alberta Football Uncensored. I'm your host, Tees Johannesson. With me, as always, my co-host, Omari Fraser. Omari, since the last podcast, which I wasn't able to make, I had some dad duties to take care of. But since that last podcast, a lot has gone on. Listeners, there may be a baby crying in the background. That's totally fine. Just ignore it. So we have to talk about it. I mean, obviously, the news came out that Edmonton Elite folded, and then shortly after that, the Leduc Lightning folded. And now I want to set the record straight here first and foremost. I've seen some comments saying that it's a really bad look for the league and the board and et cetera, et cetera. Now, anyone who listens to this podcast understands that I'm probably the toughest critic of, President Vince and the board. I call it as it is. However, I'm not biased, and I don't. It's not like I dislike these people. I just tell the truth. The reality is that in this situation, and I say things how they are. This is not Vince's fault, and this is not the board's fault, and this is not the league's fault. This does not lie with them at all. I was watching the AGM when Leduc made their proposal, and Leduc came in and made a really great proposal. And there was no option that the league had but to accept them into the league, because they did everything they were supposed to do in their proposal. They showed that they were going to be a good, successful team, and the league, rightfully so, voted them in. The league could not foresee this, so anyone that's out there kind of shitting on the league or saying that it's their fault is completely off base. And again, I'm someone who regularly calls out the league and Vince and the board, but this is not on them whatsoever. This is fully on the ownership of the Leduc Lightning. I don't know what the fuck happened there. It is an epic failure, something we've never seen before in the history of our league. Whoever was running that organization basically hoodwinked the league, clearly. Put on a presentation that was fake, that was false. They clearly had no idea what they were doing. And if you think about it, it really doesn't come as a surprise, considering the rumors that we heard last year about the Williams brothers and how they were basically hated by the Airdrie Irish. And so much so that a group of people essentially left the Irish and went to the Wolfpack. So it doesn't surprise me that they couldn't get this together, but this is not a league thing. This is not an Alberta Football League problem. This is a group of people who failed miserably, who should never be allowed to be a part of this league again after this debacle. It's not just like, oh, they folded. It's that they threw to do it a week before the season is going to start is completely unacceptable. You can't tell me that they didn't know that this was going to go on. Everyone involved with the Leduc team should be completely barred from this league, in my opinion. This is an absolute shit show, and it should never have happened. It makes the league look bad, even though this is not the league's fault. It is not Vince's fault. This is 100% on these morons who couldn't get their stuff together and decided to screw the rest of the league over. And maybe that was the plan all along. Like, I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any means. But maybe that was their plan all along. I can't see how this could have happened. I can't see how they didn't know that this was going to happen. It is a damn shame that they waited as long as they did to fold. And then you put Vince and the board in a really awkward position where they've got to scramble and figure this stuff out. And I'll give credit where credit is due. Good job on Vince. Good job on the board for sitting down and figuring this out and getting a new schedule out as quickly as they did. Trying to change dates and home dates and all the teams trying to figure out what they're going to do. So good on them for figuring that out. As far as the Edmonton situation goes, they should have folded when the ownership left. That falls solely on Yogi and Nick Dacus, the former owners of the Elite. Just god awful in the way they ran that organization from the first time they came in into the league. And it's good riddance that they're gone, because they didn't help the league. They didn't want to build the league. They didn't ever want to come on the podcast. They didn't want to ever actually grow the league. So screw them. I'm glad they're out. They should never be allowed back either. And Leduc, I mean, it's just ban them all. I can't believe that we got to this point. What are your thoughts, Amari?
I think it's a definite missed opportunity with how Leduc was handled, because from what I was seeing, especially when it was coming on, and like just stuff I was seeing in the community, like they were quite excited to have a team. Like from the people that I guess knew AFL, I guess heard about it and everything in the Leduc area, was just like all excitement. So that was one thing where I guess like, you know, it was a big, I guess it was a big letdown there, because everyone was just excited to see like new team, new franchise. I don't understand ownership has some history, but to see them in the new area and like just you know see all the news, like that newness factor that you get when you buy something new, get something new, hear about something new. Like it was an exciting time. I think that's one where like there's a lot of letdown there, and everyone's just like, oh, it's unfortunate. Next team that makes its approach to join the league will, I'm sure the league will have some more questions or more criteria to check off, just because, you want to limit that, especially with it being so close. I think that's what makes it so difficult, because like, oh, it was so close, we're so close to seeing it. That surprise factor. So that's kind of where I'm at, because I feel like, again, when you tie into like Leduc, Edmonton, that's that like greater Edmonton area, where like I think Leduc is just the airdrie of Edmonton, and I think great town, everything. I'm definitely upset for the people in the area of Leduc, because I think the city does still deserve a team. I think they have the people to fund it, grow it, man it, everything. Because I think the way I said it was airdrie. It's like their version of airdrie, which I think would be really good for the team. Because I think, and I'm sure we all can agree here, an eight man or eight team AFL is a very exciting AFL. Nothing wrong with a six man or six manned up team, but eight just adds more opportunity, more possibilities, more players, all those other dynamics. So I'm really hoping things can get worked around to where then more comes out, just so we can avoid this miscommunication just with how things got presented, because it's unfortunate, from all the excitement to then nothing and then everything. So lessons to be learned. One thing that I'm definitely taking from this is like, there's still that group in Lethbridge where I'm just trying to egg them on to say, hey, who wants to like man this together down there to go? Because there's lessons here to be learned to take forward for future AFL future franchises. And one question I want to take to you now, Tej, is just like, what are some things now you think that league will look into to either avoid this, or some policies they might have in for new teams to really stick to, where like, hey, if this happens again, like there's maybe like a deposit up on the line or something like that to avoid this?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Like I said, I don't I don't put any blame, 0% of the blame on Vince or the league. I think this is a circumstance that was not, you couldn't see this happening. I don't think anyone really saw it happen. I think we could see it happening with Edmonton, but again, that's not on the league. They weren't going to kick Edmonton out. They were going to give them a chance. It annoys me that they waited until 2 weeks before the season to do that. But I think I've had, my ideas for new teams. And again, I've talked about this before. Like, I've had a lot of ideas when I was president of the league to try to grow the league, and they all kind of got shut down because no one likes to listen to me. But one of my things for new teams is, if you present a new team, you should have 25 fully paid players to show commitment towards the league. So you show up, you say, look, here's our bank statement, whatever it might be. Here's 25 players that have paid their fees in full. That shows full commitment. 25 is enough to run a team. And if you show up to the December AGM with 25 paid players, it's pretty likely that you're going to probably at least be able to bump that up to 35 or 40 players. And obviously that's the issue, right? Like there was obviously a lack of players with Leduc, and they couldn't field the teams. But again, like you said, that's a lesson learned. That's not me putting the blame on the league. Again, they're 0% responsibility for that in this situation. But I think learning and moving forward, doing something like that, like making it really, really hard for teams to join the league. It's not incredibly hard for teams to get into the league right now the way the current bylaws are set. You show up and you can really smoke and mirror it, right? You can, hey, we've got these sponsors, we've got this field, these are our plans and goals and aspirations. But my idea is show me, like with proof. And the best way to do that is to be like, we got 25 guys that have paid their fees in full. Here it is right now. And whether that be my other idea, and again, when I was president, my goal was to actually make it very difficult for teams to enter the league. So I was saying we should put an expansion fee on these teams to fund the league, right? But like, hey, if you want to be a part of the league, you have to pay $2,000 and you're not getting that back. That's an expansion fee that you have to pay to the league to prove to us you're here. And if you do fold, that gives us, we can use that $2,000 to offset some of the costs and the problems that are going to happen if you end up folding. So the league needs to make it way more difficult to join the league. And that $2,000 can be player fees. $250 from 10 players is $2,500, right? So maybe it's a $2,500 expansion fee. And then those teams would be like, well, then we can't use that money to pay for this and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's the point. It should be difficult to come into the league. It should be hard to get in here. You should have to pay money, and then you should have to go and work harder to get more money to be a long-standing member of the league, because this league costs money. It's $30,000 to $40,000 a year for teams to run their programs. So we need to know that you're going to be able to do that, not just for 1 or 2 years, but for 10 years. That's how we grow the league. That's how we... Because, yeah, you're right, Omar. I would love 8 teams. I would love a team in Lethbridge. I would love like a North and South division, right? 4 teams in the North division, 4 teams in the South division, make travel a little bit easier, do something like that. But we need to see teams that are going to be able to stick it. And if a team shows up with, and hey, here's our $2,500 expansion fee, and it's based on 25 players paying $100, whatever it is, that shows full commitment. That shows that they're all in. That shows, because teams aren't going to want to just lose that $2,500, so they're going to work extra hard to make sure that their team is viable. So the league needs to make it very difficult for teams to come in. An expansion fee needs to be put on new teams that come into our league. I'd rather have a 6-team league full of teams that are going to be here and do this than have these one-off teams that come in and just can't sustain it. So put a $2,500 expansion fee. Make it that you've got 25 players that have fully paid their fees. Show us that, and then we know that you're going to be putting in the effort to get hard. Because now, what has Leduc lost here? But what has Leduc lost here? They've lost nothing. They came out, they hoodwinked the league, they tricked the league. And again, not Vince's fault, not the league's fault. I mean, if I was president of the league, I would have voted them in after that presentation too, because it was a great presentation. But the boundaries that we have in order to get into the league are weak right now, and that needs to be looked at and that needs to be changed. We need to make it difficult for teams to get in. And if teams can't meet that, then sorry, you don't get in. We'll run with a 6-team league. So that's a simple thing. Again, I don't know if they didn't want to listen to me when I brought that up when I was the president. Maybe they'll listen to me now because of what's happened and how it screwed everybody over. But this is a simple fix in my mind. Make it really hard for teams to get into the league. And if you make it hard and they pass that test to get into the league, you can be pretty certain that they're probably going to be around for at least 1 year, but probably more than that. I mean, you look at teams like the Wolfpack and the Bucks who have been here a very long time. It's because people care and put in effort to be into the league. That would be my idea. It's been my idea for a long time now. I mentioned on Mike's podcast that I also tried to put in an idea where players paid fees directly to the league, and then those were reimbursed. Like there are so many things that this league can do to sustain itself and to sustain the teams in the league and to make it better. I don't see that effort being put in. It hasn't been put in the 3 years since I've been president. And I hope that they start doing this, because otherwise this league's going to fail with the way that things are going today. So that would be kind of my idea on things.
All right. Now, with that being said, now going from I think the teams that haven't got into now one of the more franchise teams. I guess we're flipping the script here now to where
The
we
most
got
franchise team.
yeah, longest standing franchise team. I know Rob Sherman loves to say it's 17 17-time national, I don't know, double digit numbers, 4-time national champs. You know, we got to get back to those winning ways, but we got the Wolfpack here. So myself, Josh, Tim, Logan, welcome boys. You know, we were talking about Wolfpack season preview, so let's dive into it. Josh, Tim, Logan, introduce yourselves here, and we'll get things dived into how things looking here for the pack.
1 second. I wanted to tell you, Omari, before we get into this, did you know I just saw when I opened up our app, we use Riverside for podcasting. Everybody, if you're interested in starting your own podcast and something, Riverside's a great thing. I just saw, have you seen, Omari, have you seen on Instagram these these podcast people that get turned into babies?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so this is like my favorite thing on social media right now is these, like Theo Vaughn's one that gets done a lot, Joe Rogan, but they like AI them and they turn them into babies and they still do their talking, and it's so funny. And we can now do that on Riverside, so we can turn ourselves into babies. And I'm gonna look into that because it's actually very funny. You should check this out. You can. It's just my entire algorithm right now. It's like these babies that are doing podcasts, and it's so funny. My wife hates it, but she's laughing in the background, so that's okay. Yeah, it's really good. Josh, why don't you go ahead and give a quick introduction? How you doing, man? How you been? And talk to our listeners. You've been on the podcast before, so you can go first.
You guys hear me now?
Yeah, you're good, man.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. My name is Josh. I'm kind of the O-line captain, player coach for the Wolfpack. I'm doing really well. Graduated college. I'm only 22, but I feel like I'm 45. I feel like I got that old man wisdom now. Yeah, I'm excited to be back. I've been on the Wolfpack Instagram page, dropping Dwayne Johnson-esque promos. But I'm fired up, ready to rally.
Taco Bell.
What's the funniest shit?
That was so big.
Almost
dude.
cried
That was
laughing.
so, I love Mike. You know what I actually said? I said I love Jesus, which is like, not much.
You
better.
said I love Jesus, and he turned it into Taco Bell.
Yeah, you know what? I love.
Hey, that's basically the same thing, is it not?
No, not considering I work in ministry. No, but I love both those things. So I
Sorry.
love Jesus, love the squat rack, and I definitely love Taco Bell. I love a cheesy crunch gordita or whatever it's called, or like a quesadilla.
The cheesy gordita crunch, yeah.
Oh yeah, dude! Don't even.
Yeah.
I graduated college. I literally drove across the border because I lived my college is 10 minutes away from the border. So went to Linden, and literally night after my grad, went to Linden and dropped like $30 on Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Cheesy gordita crunch was my go-to 10 years ago before I quit eating gluten. So no more of that for me. Tim, you've been here before too. How you doing, man?
Not bad. Just existing, living life. Finishing up my last year in carpentry. So lots of rest before practice, preseason. Getting those reps in, especially at my age. I really got to work through it.
Just existing, man, that's like kind of depressing, dude.
I mean, I just tell it how it is. You hit 30 and then you hit 35 and you're like, is it going to end? Am I going to continue?
God.
Do I want to? I'm just kidding.
Josh, Tim needs Jesus, Josh. Tim needs Jesus right now. Real quick.
So many times. No, it's good.
Tim needs Jesus and Taco Bell.
I could go for some Taco Bell, that's for sure. But no, I mean, in terms of my physical health, I am probably the best I've been in 10 years. So there's that.
Great.
That's what I'm looking forward to. The problem with my demeanor right now is I just bombed a really important test, so I'm just kind of like, I'm a downer today, so I'm gonna try to keep it up. But you're right.
Hey man, look, we've all been there. Yeah, keep it up. Figure it out. You'll get it. Sometimes sometimes tests can get the best of us, no matter what they are. Test anxiety is real. Logan, new to the podcast. Introduce yourself. What's your role with the Wolfpack?
Hey, brother. Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I'm Logan Hiltz. I'm second year with the Wolfpack here. Last year I was our halfback, kind of defensive captain, kind of. Don't really know unofficially. Loudest guy on the field, just yelling at people, kind of what I like to do. Uh, if I can't hit them hard, I'm gonna yell at them loud. So that's all we could really do. Unfortunately, I got hurt last season, so blew my knee out. Just got a full knee reconstruction done last Thursday. So just healing up and trying to help out the boys however I can, vocally on the sidelines. Just implementing structure and a good sense of community is really my goal for the season this year.
Good. Glad to hear that the Wolfpack have some guys that are willing to come in and coach and help out in that area as well. Obviously, everybody knows Omari. Omari's coming back with the Wolfpack. I tried to recruit him to the Irish, but he's a loyalist, and I respect that. So that's okay. Omari, how things been going with the Wolfpack? How the numbers been? How you guys' practice has been? Like, how are things looking heading into week 1, which is freaking next week?
I know, it's crazy to think about. I think overall, I think all of us can agree things are looking good, looking better than what we ended on last year. For as short a time frame as what we, I guess, really put our minds towards bringing together. Like our last practice, we had one of our best practices. We had 30 guys at practice. Had a chance to see a bit of both. We were averaging around 23, 20. And then just recently, we've been able to add some players on. And a lot of that like add players on, guys from work, they're down now, they're here for work, and as well some of our American players have showed up. So this has now been where things align right for the first week, the last week, and then now we're gonna head into game prep week. And our goal here now is like, hey, if we continue on from our Thursday practice on, which I think we all feel good about. Let the other boys talk about it. Like we at least control, the product we can put on the field, which is now where I think the big question for a lot of us last year was like, we can't have a repeat of last year. And I'm pretty sure I'll let the guys dive into that meeting, because that was a big thing now for me, where I was contemplating. I know I was having some conversations there with Josh and everything. I'm like, listen, like, guys don't want the repeat. If that's gonna be apparent, then a handful of guys are gonna look at going other places. So I'll end it there, because I'm sure I'll dive into a bit, but I want to open the floor up to the boys to share their thoughts and what we decided to put our minds together to fix.
Yeah, so Josh, you can go first. Kind of like, what's your overall feeling on the team, and specifically, how's your O-line coming along, being the O-line captain, and on the offensive side of the ball?
Things are looking better, right? Omari wants to touch on the meeting. Yeah, we got into a meeting, I think it was in January, February, where we just like delegated tasks, right? And we decided that things get done. And so that really helped us get organized for the year. And as far as our offense goes, our O-line's getting there. We got some kids I've coached, which is really funny to me, because I'm only 22, but I started coaching ball when I was 19. I coached both here in Calgary. I did spring camp at Forest Lawn, and I coached at Robert Bateman. Obviously, the Robert Bateman kids aren't playing with me, but some of my Forest Lawn kids are like, I don't know if you see the signing post, but like, there's a Forest Lawn Wolfpack connection there, and that, like, man, like, I'm so excited to ball with him. Like Marcus Ascon, that kid played Colts last year, and like, he came to the pack and he's like, Josh, I want to play with you and Julian. But like, I coached Marcus since he was like 14, and Marcus used to send me like videos of him snapping, and he's like, Coach Yeek, how do you correct this? And I don't mean to expose Marcus, but like, a huge reason I came back was like, okay, like, I want to play with Marcus. Marcus is a kid who I've like coached, and like, I've worked with him, and dare I say, he's better than me. I'll tell everyone that. Like, he is a dog, and I'm so proud of him. And same with another kid, Brandon Asham. He's like a 6'6" defensive end. He's not even graduated yet. He's graduating this year, and he's a kid I've coached a little bit as well, and taught him how to hold, contain, taught him how to get to the quarterback, and I've taught him how to play some O-line. So he's right now, currently on my depth chart, like he is probably going to play some offensive line for us as well. But our O line's looking good. We also got another guy, Logan's good friend, David Burton. Dude's a dog. Like that guy has a motor. He's probably gonna go both ways because he's that good. Like I'm fired up for that guy. And so yeah, like our O line looks good. And speaking of our offense, everyone's favorite quarterback, Daryl the Goat Leeson, like he's slinging the rock. He looks like Tom Brady, dude. Like that guy looks dialed. Like that guy looks like he drinks 7 Rockstar Energies a day and gets on the. Like we know Daryl, he's probably not drinking a Rockstar.
It's the hot wings that does it. Hot wings and cinnamon buns.
Yeah, hot wings, black coffee. That guy's probably drinking 7 black coffees a day, getting under center and ripping bombs. Like he's throwing bullets. Daryl looks good, and he looks healthy this year, which is what's important for us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's good to hear. And it is, I had the experience the last couple of years of playing with kids that I coached in high school ball. And it's a special experience that 99.9% of football players don't get to experience playing with kids that they coach. So enjoy it while you have it, because it's a pretty cool thing and something that you'll definitely remember forever. Tim, how are you looking? How you said you're in the best, you feeling the best physically, which is great. I mean, I'm in the same boat with myself. I feel better every single year, even as I get older. I think that's a blessing. How's the receiving core looking? I know Daryl's throwing bullets, but does he have guys he can throw it to? How's that kind of coming along with your group?
Honestly, I mean, I don't want to blow any secrets before Cold Lake, but we're a threat, 100%. I mean, the connection is there. We have a little bit of depth. Really good talent coming in this year. Taller, stronger, faster receivers than we've had in a while. Just fresh blood, but really making an impression at practice. Giving me a run for my money, and trying to keep them all hurdled up and get the plays down. That 55 arrows. It's a hard one to lock in, but
classic.
We're good.
Classic.
We're killing it on the right
arrows.
side.
When I came to the Wolfpack in 2022, it was it definitely was the simplest playbook I've ever had to learn. But it goes to prove that football is more about a game of execution than it is about scheming. And I fully believe that. I think scheming is very important. But if you're good at what you do, even though everybody knows what you guys are going to do, but with Daryl back there making the reads and those receivers getting the timing down, it still makes it hard to stop. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys do. Unfortunately, because of the Edmonton deletes and the Leduc never weres, I have 2 bye weeks to start the season, so it sucks, but we'll get a lot of film on guys. I'm looking forward to kind of diving into your film, seeing what you guys got. I always secretly cheer for the Wolfpack a little bit because I did have a great time when I was there in 2022. Coach Logan, how's the defense looking? To be frank, the defense has kind of sucked for you guys the last couple years. Just not that great to be real. We were pretty good in 2022 when I was there with Sagan, and we had some other guys that could do some things. But how are you feeling about that group coming into this year, especially going into next week against what I'm assuming is going to be a very high-powered Cold Lake Jets offense?
You know what, man? Honestly, I seen a lot of potential in our defense last year for my first year getting there. We had a lot of dogs. It was just more so that attendance side of things, getting guys to practice, getting everybody on the same page. Everybody wants to show up on Saturday when the lights are on, but people don't want to show up on Tuesdays, Thursdays when it's time to get the actual work in, right? This year, though, like Omari said earlier, it's been a very night and day difference. So we always have our guys out there, our starting guys, there every day at practice, putting in the work. This year, we've implemented a really high contact practice plan. Lots of physicality going into our practice, making sure our guys are ready for the contact that they're going to face in that first Cold Lake game. But as far as it comes down to it, I don't think there's a person on my defense that I'm really worried about not being able to carry their weight through this. Our DBs are just dogs this year. I feel bad for any receiver trying to get a play on that. Going to be really interesting to watch that happen. If you're if you're gonna try and catch that ball, I hope you don't have work on Monday because it's really not gonna be fun for you. And also, if you try and run that thing up the middle, we're stacking the trenches up with some big boys. Like I said, we don't need to be the most technical, but as long as we're the most aggressive off the rip, I have no problem going into a dogfight for 5 games this year with my boys. I have nothing but respect for all of those guys. Like I said, we got Cohen Overy, Dawson, Yetzi, Emmett, Derek. We got lots of guys coming back for a second year that I think last year left a really bad taste in their mouth, and they all are on the same page on making sure we don't have to taste that again.
Yeah, I think that you touched on something that's really important. I'm the defensive coordinator here at HA Cody in Sylvan Lake, and that's what I always tell my guys. Like, whatever happens, we control who the most physical team is, and if you've got that, if you can look at your film and you can see, like, we may have given up this, we may have given up that, but our guys were rallying to the football. Our guys were working their ass off to shed blocks and get into gaps. And get into their drops. Like, you're going to be happy regardless, because in a grind of the season, that stuff matters when it comes to the end. And if teams are going up against you and they know that shit, like, this is going to be tough. Like, I'm gonna feel this tomorrow, no matter what. That can wear on guys. So I think that's really important. Omari, what are you thinking for next week? How are you guys looking forward? Obviously, it's that first game of the season, no film. You can look back at last year, but everybody's going to be a little different. How are you feeling confidence wise heading up to Cold Lake next week?
The biggest thing, and this is now where I've just recalled from previous times having to go to Cold Lake, it's going to be a physical game, right? I think both teams are going to be like, well, maybe not for them, because they're going to be like, Daryl, 55 arrows. It's a classic. He's going to run it 8 times down the field. You know what? He's done it before 8 times down the field, and it results in touchdowns and different scenarios with different teams. But other than that, it's going to be just, I don't think there's going to be anything maybe too fancy. If anything, I'll share a bit of the game plan, because I was actually developing it to this week. But because Cold Lake's going to have the Gators after us, I believe that Cold Lake doesn't want to show too much on the film to then have the Gators coming off their Okanagan Sun game, got some work in, having that film to where then they want to, as I'm assuming from last year, they're going to want some get back to then have some plays, I like to call silver bullets, loaded up to then, bring that game there. So I think for us, could be a more vanilla game, but if anything, more physical. I'm expecting to be a fully physical game, and that's one thing now too, where I'm really trying to ensure with our guys, like, look, the previous times we've gone up, like, we've had fresh 18-year-olds go up and got, made a man in that game. So, trying to do that process of making them a man in the 4 weeks leading up to, where, like, hey, we're hitting, we're forming up on tackles, we're just doing all the small things to where then when we can turn it up, we're turning it up with that ease of just like, hey, we've done this before in practice, not just game time. Because that's one thing now where we can control that. That's one thing we both control. If we can say, hey, we can match the physicality, at least meet them there, then, schematics can run out of their way. But at least then we can turn around and say, hey, guys, we got a very physical team and a younger team. That's definitely going to be a scary pack, because I think that's one thing now when I look at our overall recruiting class. Yes, I know we've always recruited high school players. Like, when I do our breakdowns of like how each team recruits, Gators have a lot of U Sport junior guys. Irish have a mix, all that stuff. Wolfpack was always a lot of high school kids and like not a lot of experience, not to knock anyone, but this year now we've got some guys who've played 5-6 years. They might not have meant to jump to junior, but have played Bantam, played high school, bit of spring, and have a lot of football history. So it's just a matter of like getting them caught up to the physicality side, which we try to do in practice. Like, I think we ended off last week in one of our more physical periods, which was our better practice, physical. We're competing. They just need to see that. So that's one thing now where I think all of us were like, hey, we never had this last year. Like, this is a good turn. So let's repeat that over and over and over again to compound that into a season now that we can control and, change the narrative.
Yeah, and I think that first game of the year is always incredibly physical because guys are just raring to go, right? Like it's that first game. Guys are ready to just show what they've got. You've got new guys trying to earn spots. You've got new guys to the league. So those games can even be more physical, I think, than even regular games. So it's a good test for you guys heading up there week one to really show what you guys got and to see what you guys got.
And to one thing too, I want to pass the torch to Logan here because there's an energy that I find that with guys who come back, they have some time away from football and they come back. It's that like reminiscent energy of like, oh, I didn't get to end football the way I wanted, have a break, but come back. And Logan, you were a guy last year where I remember that game, our first game against Central with the Bucks last year. You had a blowout game where you were just trying to light people up, just hit. You were hitting everybody, like everyone was getting. You were like a shotgun, just like everyone's getting hit. But I was just like, man, that's a guy who missed football, who now has it back in his life and is like playing like he, like it could be his last down. And I wanted to give you and as well too share a bit about your football story. Give about 5 minutes to talk about your football story because that was something now too where I found that energy helped translate the season and your physicality. And I think there's a few guys we have who have that. So give us a quick rundown of your football story and all that because I know you're new to the AFL crowd.
Yeah, sure. I really appreciate that, by the way. I've played most of my career with the Calgary Cowboys. I started my first year at them, like 6, 7 years old. I was underage, and Tony Spallettini said, "We'll take him up over here." I've always played on heavily defensive oriented teams, learning under like Tony Woodson, Marvin Pope, Wes Lizak, those big names through the Cowboys, at least in my age of growing up through football. They really helped shape the aggression aspect of things of like, you could tell the guy across from you, it does not matter. I'll tell you what I'm doing, but I'm just going to do it better than you, and you're going to have to stop it. That's all, right? And I played a little bit for the ABC Alberta Bowl for the one season under you there, Omar. You kind of brought me back onto it. After high school, unfortunately, a lot of personal things going on in my life. I didn't really see football being an option that I could pursue anymore. Just felt more of an irritation. I kind of lost the love for it, and I didn't see the point in going out for it anymore. I took 5 years off, and I started seeing the Wolfpack pop up again. My father played for the Wolfpack, so it's a team I've been around since I was 6 years old. I've watched Daryl throw a football since I was 6, so it's pretty crazy that I'm playing with him right now. But I think it's awesome. My family gets a really good kick out of it there. But honestly, coming back last year and getting into a game like Central Alberta last year, where it's a heavy run team that's just going to really try and ram it down your throat the whole time, I could have not asked for a better welcome to the AFL moment. I think it was the first play of the game there. Your guys' big running back came out on that toss, and I seen him coming. We made eye contact, and this little voice in my head said, "Don't let this guy think he's got this." Not in a million years. So I did what I do best. I put my head down, ran into somebody, and made a play. And ever since then, I've been itching. It's just been back. I live for Saturdays knowing that I get to go hit somebody and make their life at work a living hell for the rest of the week. I think that's just the best thing you could do at this age, man, honestly. And I got a new appreciation for football because I realized it's just more about the reps you get in and the guys you get to be around. The journey, everyone wants to go pro. Everyone wants to get to that next level. And don't get me wrong, I still think this league is a place for those people. Like, they still can come make a name for themselves and move on. But also, if you just want to hang around and live out your glory days and get some aggression out, I also think this is an amazing place for that as well. Yeah, that's really about it for me, man. I'm just about contact. I'm a defensive guy through and through.
love to hear it, man. And this is now where we're excited to have you take control of the defense here and get into that there. Tim, I know you got a lot on your mind to touch on here. So, what have been your thoughts? Any call outs? I know you're infamous for making your call outs and all that, but Tim, what's on your mind? And then we'll get back to Josh here.
Well, I mean, since we're on the ball about callouts, Bryce Gow, very upset with him. He teased me all preseason, saying I'm leaving the Gators. I'm going to come play Pack. And then last week I found out that he went to Cold Lake. So a little choked about you. Going to be sending a few boys your way. during the
love-
game, just to feel it up and to remind you that the pack was a better choice. And as far as like other players, like I've heard through the grapevines, like over the years, so many guys that have come in and left and gone to go play for Airdrie and gone to play for the Gators and bigger teams who are like, oh, I want to be more competitive. I want to be on, on a big roster where I can make a name for myself. Go ahead. The way I see it is if you want to be competitive, make the underdogs, the smaller team, make them competitive. Be the big dog on that team, make them a threat, make other teams question what's going to happen next. And it's very frustrating to listen to it. Not going to call out any names, but just a couple of players that I've had the opportunity to chat with have come in, said their piece, and then left. Yeah, enjoy sitting on your 60-man roster, getting 1 to 2 reps a game. I'll probably be playing Iron Man this year. Other than that, the season, I think we're going to be doing really good. I'm really excited for it. Much more excited than I have been in a few years. I see the potential we have. Just got to get a couple more key positions, and we'll be locked in, competing with the top 2, and ready to go.
Wait, who's the top 2 though?
We know. First of all, it's the Gators
I don't know.
because they're the old national champs. And then biting the bit right behind them has always been Airdrie. They've always had the potential but never been able to execute, mainly because of their quarterback position and the issues that they've had with their administration. But I think with the transfer of Teej going to them, and a lot of big names, like what do they got? Like 4 or 5 big name quarterbacks now. You got that LJ Dyers guy from the Colts. I've heard nothing but amazing things from him. You got Eric Kyler, like a lot of big names that I expect to show up and do something with. So yeah, I'll give you guys number 2.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think obviously I think the Jets are going to be. I think the league's going to be really good. I think the parody's going to be really good this year. LJ's come in and he was actually on the London Beefeaters there and was an all Canadian type player. And I'm excited to. I've seen him at practice and what I'm really excited about actually is the offensive line that we've put together, which is gonna I think going to be the best offensive line in the league. The quarterback position is actually one that is going to be interesting for us. We don't have a lot of super experience there, but we do definitely have some talent. You guys know Memphis a little bit, obviously. I like Memphis. I think Memphis has got. I love how tall he is. I love that he can see everything. He's got a good arm. The chemistry with our receivers, we need to get that going, and I think having that first 2 weeks bye is going to give us a bit of an advantage over people because we're going to have a lot of film, so and a little more time to kind of get that preparedness together. We got another guy too named Paul, who another big guy who's got a Canada arm, so we'll see how that goes. Again, inexperience, and Daryl Eason is the opposite of that for you guys. So experience matters at the quarterback position. So we'll see how that goes. But it should be very interesting.
One question I got for you, Tej, whose ball do you like catching more? Like which ball do you find like, hey, it just has like a nice like fits in the hands nice, the spins just about right so your hands can stop it. Like which quarterback would you say is like, oh yeah, like that's a good like ball like snag? And like this doesn't need to be a knock to anybody, but you know how like NFL players like, oh like I really like Aaron Rodgers balls, like and he just comes in at like the perfect like temperature or like spin or velocity, And
are you talking like are you talking like all time guys I've played with?
All time, and then with the Irish right now.
All time, it's Brandon Lay. I mean, like, it's not even actually close. Like I loved playing with Daryl. Maybe when Daryl was younger, it would have been different. But Brandon throws a football like I've never seen anyone throw a football in my life, and it comes in. It's just like, I'm pretty famous for running my corner routes, and like the way that he just drops the ball in or throws it to a spot that I can go get is just something that I dream about having again one day in my life. With the Irish, I've only been to a couple practices. Having a new baby and having this gas is expensive. So, but Paul and Memphis throw good football. Memphis has got it might be a little more. He's got a cannon, and it's not. I wouldn't say he's got it. I think he needs to improve a bit on his reading of the defenses and understanding how things are going. But I mean, he's young, and of course that's going to happen. I'm not going to sit here and say that anybody's perfect at anything, but I'm excited to see what he's got. Paul's got a good arm. He overthrew me a couple times actually at the first practice I went to, which is kind of abnormal. I don't have a lot of guys that can overthrow me, so we've got to get some chemistry there. But I do like the way both of them throw the ball, and I think Memphis. I remember the last practice I was at, I ran kind of a little seam route, and he fit the ball in just perfectly in between the safety and the corner in cover 3. That came at a perfect angle, perfect spin. Was able to just pick it and split the defense there. So I'm excited to see how that goes. But all time, it's Brandon Lay. I mean, it's kind of orgasmic the way that he throws the football. Sorry if this is maybe that's not the right word, but it just kind of is, like, I don't know, it's in football terms anyways, I
guess. Josh, let's pass over to you now, just with, everything that you're seeing, and in general, I know you've been helping me on the recruiting front. You can dive into maybe some of our guerrilla methods of marketing here we've been doing to really drive recruiting. We've been on it as of not, I wouldn't say the whole off season, but of recently. I think we've had a nice month and a half of just driving it.
Yeah. First of all, I want to prop you, Omari. Omari has been the Wolfpack for like the past 3 years. He's been absolutely cooking with gas. Omari, to be honest with you, Omari basically helped save the team last year. With his recruiting, he got Emmett out, he got so many people out, and he's just been Omari got his collection. We got New Jersey. A lot of it has been Omari. On the recruiting front, yeah, you're guys. We've been on the Instagram on the paid ads a little bit. We have guys have been paying their fees. We have a few. And we're in a better spot than we were last year. So I'm very happy with all of that. Is there anything else you guys wanted me to talk about?
Sorry, you cut out there for a bit.
Oh, yeah, recruiting has gone really well. We've been on the Instagram. Omar, as I said earlier,
Hold on. Josh, you're cutting out pretty big time here. I don't know if you got to switch your data again.
I think what he's saying is that Omari has been basically the main reason that we are where we are. And I attest to that 100%. He has been locked in since January with recruiting. Any way possible, he has tried to exploit it. And I agree with Josh 100%, because he's even on my ass about talking to other schools, talking to people I work with. He's got business cards. That I was excited to see the business cards. You just hand them out, hand them to the big guys, hand them to the fast guys. Be like, hey, come on over. And I was like, that's 100% an Omari thing, and I don't think anybody could have done a better job than him this year.
We'll soon be able to put it all together.
Absolutely.
It's great for the league, right? You guys have been, honestly, the Wolfpack have been pretty close to almost having to shut it down for a while now. So it's really good to see that there's people that care a lot about the Wolfpack. It kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about new teams coming into this league. Like, we need people like Omari. Obviously, Omari cares deeply about the league. We do this podcast. He's got his thing with the YouTube channel and trying to grow it. We need, the league in general needs like more people that are willing to do that kind of stuff, and more people that are willing to really step up. Of course, you've got Kurt Howland, who is very similar in the way that he goes about his business and trying to grow the league. Because we have I've said this a lot on this podcast, but we have just so much potential to be great for people. And, this league gives people the opportunity to do something that not a lot of people in this country get to do. Like, there's just not a lot of places where you can be finished university junior football and then continue to play football for as long as you want. And what's really cool about our league is, like, I spent 12 seasons on the Bucks. Like, you don't get to and I'll finish my career on the Bucks after this year as well, but so it'll be more than that when all is said and done. But there's not a lot of opportunities where you get to play on the same team for 12 years. Think about it, right? You play high school for 3 years. You play, bantam for 2 years, pee-wee for 2 years, midget for 2 years, junior for 4 years, university for 5 years, if you're lucky. So you go to the pros and in the NFL, like, nobody stays on the same team for, longer than a couple years now, right? In any pro league. So we have such a unique product and a unique thing to have, play on the same team for so long and really have that be a part of your identity. And, like, even though I'm playing on the Irish this year, I'm a Buck through and through. Like, that's the team that I love. That's the team that, I have all my memories with. And like I said, that's the team I'll finish my career with. But it's also been nice to spend a year on the Wolfpack and see different things. And now they're going to spend a year on the Irish and see different things. So, yeah. So we need more of that in our league and more people like that.
What questions do you have for us? Because I feel like, I know me being, it's always those odd ones where it's like, when we're a part of the team, it's like, we can ask certain things, but what do you want to know? And you want to fire off questions to each Tim, Logan, Josh?
Yeah, I think my question for Josh would be, obviously you're a very excitable and outgoing guy, and you're excited about the Wolfpack. What are your expectations for the team this year? Like, realistic expectations for the year? Like, what are you thinking this group can do? What do you expect this group to do? And what are you hoping this group will do?
Surprise people. That's the biggest thing. And I've said this multiple times, like, if we're being honest, people are already counting us out. And for me, seeing the talent we have in this roster, seeing everything we have, man, to go out there, to smack a few people around, to smack the people who are counting us out around, and show that these kids, these 18, 19-year-old kids who are playing ball for the Pack, can really ball. And like I said, I've got guys I've coached with on this team who I want to see play U Sport. I want to see Marcus go to the CFL. I want to see Brandon go to the CFL. I want to see Julian go to the CFL, man. Like, as like someone who's, and mind you, I've only coached them through spring camps. But like I as someone who has like genuinely cared about them throughout their teenage years and taught them how to play the game that I love, want to see them go out here against some grown men, some of them who have played in the CFL, and ball the frick out. And that's what I think we're going to do. I think, and I wholeheartedly believe that. I wholeheartedly believe that we are going to show up and we are going to shock people. Kind of like, how the Calgary, and mind you, the Calgary Flames didn't make the playoffs this year. I'm a huge Flames fan. But, like, they shocked people. And I'm inspired by that. And I wholeheartedly believe that the Calgary Wolfpack can shock some people as well.
Yeah, I think that's, I like that. Like, shock and surprise. Because, I mean, it's true. Like, if I was making subjective rankings right now, I'd have the Wolfpack and the Bucks at the bottom of the league. I hope both of you guys surprise people. I hope that, I mean, what a story.
Get a pass here.
Well, here's the thing though. I'm up on the Cowboys. So I don't know. I'm always you have to understand, like, for me, when I came into this league, Grand Prairie was a force. That's always kind of like stuck with me. So like it's hard for, like, to me, Grand Prairie, like, I lost to Grand Prairie with the Bucks like 4 years in a row in the playoffs. They came down here in my first year with 18 guys and kicked the shit out of us. To me, Grand Prairie is like always good. Like, even though they haven't been for a long time, like, it's just ingrained in me. So I do kind of get that. Logan, I don't know, Omari, I don't know if you got this message, but I just got a message that said, heads up, Logan's recording is stopped due to low storage. So whatever device you're using, Logan, apparently you have low storage on that, and it's yeah. So once you've done that, we'll come back to you. Yeah, Josh, I like that. I think what a great story it would be if you guys could walk into Cold Lake week 1 and upset them, or even make it keeping it close, right? Like, I think that would be something that the league talked about. Like, if you guys walk in there, keep it close, or find a way to win that game. So I think that's a really good way to put it, to surprise people and shock people. And I hope you do. Like I said, I really hope you do. What similar question to you, but like, you're coming in, you're a veteran of the league. You know, you already talked about, you know, getting into your 30s and upwards. What's kind of your motivation for yourself to keep doing this and to keep playing and to keep, you know, sacrificing your summers and putting your body on the line to keep going for a team that hasn't, you know, for the last few years been successful winning? You did mention before, and I respect this a lot, but like, guys just leaving to go and win. You know, I probably had an opportunity to go play for the Gators, and for me, it's one of the big reasons I chose the Irish is because I kind of like going to the underdog team. I don't like just jumping on the number 1 team in the league and floating my way to a championship. I like being on a more of an underdog team, a team that hasn't won, a team that can kind of surprise people. That's exciting for me. So what's kind of your motivation that keeps you kind of going and doing this still for another year?
Well, I mean, I've been a vet of the league for 10 years now. I joined in 2015. And I've only had one team. It's always been the Pack, and we've been at our worst, and we've been at our best. 2019, we went to nationals, unfortunately lost, but you know, I've seen both ends of the spectrum, and honestly, the thing that keeps me going is just seeing the heart that I get every single year. You get to see that new guy that comes out, kind of looks a little like wild-eyed, doesn't know where he's going to fit in, and then all of a sudden he's just mid-season just balling out, screaming at people like, we're going to get this done. And I love that passion. I love seeing somebody come in to this league not knowing a clue and leaving that season with nothing but fire under their belt for the next season, no matter how it worked out, win or loss. We've always had a level head, and that's really what keeps me going. Is like, these guys are no longer just like teammates. Josh Yee, I coached him in high school. Like, if you want to go back to people you've coached, and just seeing him grow as a human and as a leader now on our league is something more of a passion to me than anything. Like, I'm starting to feel, I I don't want this to sound bad, but I'm starting to feel like a Rob Sherman on my team, you know? Like, I'm always there and I'm always willing to just keep the guys riled up, and I would do anything to keep playing football until I'm 50, 60, 70 even. That's what really keeps me going, as long as I haven't had a life changing injury, knock on wood. But you know, there's bumps and bruises, and at the end of every season, I wear those proud, because I'm like, you know, I gave it all. What can I do to make this better? How can I mesh with my team to you know, push us above and beyond? Because I know what victory tastes like, and it's delicious, and I want to see that again. And I don't want to see that with somebody, with another team in another color, just because I can. I want to see my family grow and excel and become the best that they can be every single year.
Yeah, I have a ton of respect for that, and I you know, I was I felt the same, you know, with the Bucks for all those years. We struggled a lot. We couldn't get over the hump. We lost a bunch of championship games. You know, somehow every podcast 2019 gets brought up. I don't know what the fuck's going on with that, but
Sorry about
that was one of those, you know, championship losses, and that one was probably the most heartbreaking. But you know, when we finally won in 2021, it was one of the best moments of my life, outside of getting married and my daughter being born. Honestly, it was probably the third best moment of my life. So I get that. I respect that, and it matters. It matters to do it with people and the team that you've committed to, and to do it with guys that you've committed to. So I appreciate that and I respect that. Omari, what was obviously you kind of were jumping back and forth, possibly leaving the Wolfpack for various reasons. What was your kind of final decision? What kind of made you go, okay, we're sticking here? Obviously, you're a loyal person, which again I appreciate and respect as well. But what was kind of the tipping point where you're like, yeah, I want to be here, and I think we can make this work?
It's here. I saw our boy Logan just came. I'm gonna save your question. I'm gonna let you answer your question to Logan, and I can wrap us up because I got two things I'll touch on because I got an answer for you and as well another thing to answer on.
Okay, Logan, with you being injured, obviously this year, it's disappointing. Obviously that you can't play. What was your kind of motivation to come back as a coach and still be a part of it? I know, I don't think I don't think I could ever come back and coach in this league once I'm done. Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's it's admirable because, like I said, I would struggle coaching in a league that I knew I could play. Like, it's easy for me to coach in high school because I know I can't suit up. Although I've thought about it because I look younger than some of the kids I coach. So I've thought about throwing the pads on and seeing if anyone would notice. But it's okay. Omari, that question that I asked you.
Yes. So now with that there's a couple of things. First things I had in mind was like, okay, I was telling myself we don't want a repeat of last season, right? And this is something that was actually being brought up by a few guys. There's a few meetings here and there, just with the team, like how do I want to move the team forward, a buyout, all those other things were coming into conversation because guys are like, hey, we like the pack, just things just weren't being run. How to the potential that everyone was seeing, and like how every single off season it was just an absolute grind of like guys are just like, all right, we're looking elsewhere, like trying to. I've always been one to say you want to water the grass, you don't water the grass on the lawn, you water it where you're standing because that's really what's going to try and get it greener. And so it is always tough with having guys leave this that, like everyone has their free choice there, and that was one thing where I was like, okay, like, I had to ask myself, is this going to be the same as last year? So define some criteria for that of like, hey, is it going to be similar practices? Is it going to be similar effort? How's recruiting going to go? And for a lot of the offseason, I actually wasn't doing a lot of the social media recruiting, all that stuff. Like I just said, all right, well, see if anyone wants to pick up the work because I was just in that reflection mode there and assessing and seeing. And I have some social media answers because I'm going to defend what we do on social media because everyone always likes to comment this and that. It's free and it works, and we've seen some results from it. But really is it going to be the same as last year? Because if it was, I'll say it right now, there's at least a handful of guys, like 6, 8 guys were like, hey, like, wherever I was going to go, they wanted to follow along with, just because it was a case where, right, like you try, and especially when I look at my position in the team, like as a leader or a captain, like not that I want to say I announce myself, I'm the leader. Like I smell all by actions, just trying to do what I can, at least put others in the spot to succeed. For a guy, I'll mention one like Emmett Smith. He's a guy now who I've coached him and their family all through raw sports, football for a while and everything. And to bring him out to Wolfpack, I was like, hey, I'm excited for you to play because I knew he wasn't playing football, but to bring football back to him, but as well, I wanted to be a place where he could succeed and grow and maybe continue his development of football. I was like, hey, I want to have a place for him to succeed in. And, that was definitely one thing where my mind was like, hey, can I have those kids who have coached and mold do that here? So those are definitely some things in my mind. Other thing that was on the criteria was ownership. I think everyone knows Rob was running the team. Me and him were having like a bit of back and forth from like, hey, this is how things are running, communication. We all got to sort it out, and I definitely do want to commend Rob for having a meeting because this is now where we're at that meeting between ourselves, me, Rob, Logan, Daryl, Josh, some of our guys in the States, and we just hashed out like, hey, like, look, we're either at a crossroads here. We're going to be the same or not the same. And we came forward and said, look, team can't run the same way that I was running, and definitely brought forward some points to make it change. And like, we saw those things being implemented bit by bit, which is good. Obviously, it wasn't going to be a overnight thing, and we knew most of it was going to show heading into I think May, like April, May, so we get into the practice side of things, and things started to look better. We got guys coming out. We're holding guys accountable. That was one thing that we said we do. I actually have, funny enough, we did Zoom notes. We Zoomed the whole meeting because we had some guys zooming in. So I had the full summary. So I kept notes of the whole thing. I kept receipts. AI did the whole thing. One thing that was here was Omari organized team plasma donation fundraiser for Griffles. Did that, got guys here now who can donate and get money towards their fees and help raise funds. Think of it like a sperm bank, but for plasma. Everyone chuckling in their car for that one. One thing that we see here for Logan, Logan's done a great job. Organize structure on the defense and give guys structure they're seeking. Logan's done a great job of that, being that spot there. I know it's unfortunate we lose him for the season with his injury. Right, he's on the mend now. We got some cadavers. We're gonna give some steroids, some HGH. He'll be back here in about week 2, so don't worry about that. Yeah, he'll be back halfway through. I always assess this list and I'm seeing like, okay, like what was said, what was this and that, and like things haven't checked off. So that was a good sign to see. More by other guys stepping up and everything. Like I got to give my hats off to Tim and Josh who really helped step up just in like recruiting front, Logan on social media front. So we've all helped bring it together, which is now where, I know what doesn't have a board, but there's a handful of us who are helping out, running it together, and we're all seeing the potential now, which is what's been done. And like, my last part here I'll say is really, I think Logan knows this too. I was going to give the Wolfpack 4 practices heading into May. I was going to give 4 practices. If those 4 practices didn't showcase like the potential, I was going to tell Rob, like, give my release. Like I'm going to go check out my other options. Fortunately, now those 4 practices, we did see improvement. Other guys are showing commitment, not for much like the new players, but for guys who we had the core and the new and like the intensity. Because obviously I knew attendance I couldn't control because work, this, that. I know even mentally I got to give guys their grace, but it was the intensity that we got to come out with. Like if we're going to come out last year and not want to hit, like that was one where I was really trying to make it. I know we got to work, but we also got to make sure we bang heads and build that callus in our body. So that was one which there's a big improvement there, and I'm just been a big really driving that home because that's really going to help us stay prepared, which I'm really happy to see. So those checked off here and everything. So that was one thing now where, those 4 practices did go well. Attendance was good for 1 week, not so good 1 week, but the intensity was high, which is what I wanted to see, and it kept moving forward. So that's what really stumped me to say, okay, like we can stick this through. Things are happening. People are keeping up to their word and everything, and we're moving this along. So that was a good thing there. And I mean, I knew, for those who know, I was considering my options. Like I was talking to Mike Becker, and Mike Becker was like, "Hey, when's the absolute latest I can get my released?" It's pretty much the game day before Coleg. I go to Coleg. So fortunately, we're not in that situation. But I was driving it that close to the wire because I was very content with like, hey, if I have to get my release and things aren't turning well, I'm releasing go play special teams, this intro a team. But I feel quite confident with our team here now. And, for those guys who are listening from our team, our big key is to just keep momentum that we had from our last practice here, which was on, May, the Thursday of the May, all the good practice. If we keep that going, we're going to control our destiny here. So that's kind of with where my head was at and how I was navigating it. I wasn't going to make a rash decision. And as well too, I had to make sure I kept my word of like, telling myself to myself actually, was this going to be a repeat? And I don't believe so. That's the way. I got some confirmation now from some of our guys who've come in and say, hey, this is completely different. It's good to verify that I wasn't just, self-talking with myself.
Yeah.
So that answers that one question there. And then to other thing, defend our social media here. Because I always send people say, our workout videos is just me, Josh, and Tim doing workout videos. Well, you know what? They work. So when I look at the data here,
40 pounds. Someone else bench
88,000 views from, yeah. Well, maybe our guy from China who's supposed to be flying in. Ooh, maybe I leaked that a little too much.
Oh, God.
88,000 from, I think we said 90 days from now to 90 days ago, which was like sometime in February. We had 88,000 views. 6% came from ads. We did run an ad campaign, so that was like 5,000 views. 52 of it was from non-followers. So all that stuff we do is to help jig the algorithm. Lately, it's been really popular because we have our posts going up and everything, but through the off season, that really helps to where then when I look at the numbers, we've had 136 clicks on a link, we have a link tree, so there's multiple links, and then I know 47 led to our recruitment form. So we had 47 people apply to our recruitment form. So we run about a third average of like a review. I'm sure there's more conversions I'll have to do to see what it comes out to. Overall, those who click the link and go to our recruitment form, I mean, that's a pretty good ratio to where all we're trying to do is just drive up attention to our link, have it drive through. It's a free thing that we do. It helps. It works. I'm sure every team has their own methods and everything. Maybe I share some more numbers of secret information, but if it helps another team, also post workout videos, do something over the off season, great. Because I think what's pretty funny with that is that it's led to a couple of kids who just reached out to us. Where there's one kid I want to highlight, Alex. I'm not gonna pronounce his last name because it's like a 3-part last name. McCackran. He's a receiver. He's a receiver for us. Also a DB. Kids got wheels. Great kid, great hands, great athletic ability. I think he has the potential to be potentially of a Vardo for us, where he gets the ball a lot. He's going to play a bit of defense, maybe a bit more. So we'll see. But he's a guy that came to social media, and so it's always funny to see those interactions come from social media and what it drives. So if you see me squatting, Josh benching, Tim jumping, it's for a reason.
Hey, I think that's a great idea. I think more teams should do stuff like that. I mean, I think that's a lot of fun. So anyone giving you flack for that can suck it, because I think that's a great idea. I think that's what we need for the league. I think that's awesome for your team, and if you're driving guys to fill out a recruitment form, because the biggest thing is, and we've talked about this a lot on the podcast, Amari, over the 2.5 years that we've done this, but a lot of people just don't know about our league. And if you don't know, you can't join. And so I think getting more people to know is exactly what you need to be doing. I'm going to be going back to the Bucks next year, and that's a big thing for me, is like really getting out there and recruiting and building our team up, and whether that be going to high schools around us or doing what you're doing. I think that's a great idea. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to have to cut this podcast off now. We're an hour and 13 minutes in, which is great, but I've got some dad duty to get to. I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate our listeners listening in. We're probably not going to get all the team previews in before week 1. We were a little bit thrown off. I think we only have Bucks and GP though, so we'll try to get the Bucks. I'll try to get the Bucks next before they play. I'll get in contact with those guys, and then maybe we can get GP next week. Yeah. So Amari, go ahead and close us out. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Logan. Thank you, Josh. Really good luck. Stay safe this weekend as well.
And then so Bucks and GP know we're not. I think from this point on, it's just more a matter of availability. So if we're reaching out to you, we'll try and figure out some availability. It's not the ranking. Don't feel offended that who's last and whatnot. Like at this point, so late to the game, we just got to get it on the books because everyone wants to hear it. But hey, appreciate everyone tuning in. Tim, Logan, Josh, excited to blow with you guys here and everything. I need you all to understand. I need a dub here when we face the Irish, because I need a dub for the AFU host championship here.
Oh yeah.
Hey, 2-0 on me right now. He's like,
my hands.
We should get an AFU podcast trophy for the winner of the podcast host game. That'd be kind of fun, actually.
Yeah, literally, it's just been you and you, 2022, 2023, 2024, and I need a dub on that one. So maybe we make that the whole rivalry thing this year. We can do the AFU Bowl, Irish versus Wolfpack.
We could really hype that up. Actually, that's kind of fun. We need to dig a little bit more into that. That'd be kind of fun.
And I'm sure Gabe will want to hop in on that too with the Gators. So whatever, I'm sure he'll want a piece of that too. He sent a DM to us saying, "Hey, you got a couple of days left, or else Evil Gabe comes out," and we all know what that's like.
Yeah.
Anything in the air is locked up.
Yeah.
But hey, appreciate everyone tuning in. Wrap this up here. You can catch our episodes in here on Apple Music, Spotify, podcasts, anywhere we get your podcasts. Help support the podcast. Buy us a coffee. I'll tell you right now, I know for me, sleep is minimal, but we're making it work. Tej, I'm sure how's sleep for you on your end?
You know what? Honestly, I have like a miracle baby. She sleeps through the entire night. We put her to bed around 10 o'clock, and she sleeps till like 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. I don't want to jinx it, but she did have to spend the first 2 months of her life, or not 2 months, first 7 weeks of her life, so almost 2 months, in the NICU where she just slept all the time. So maybe that like actually helped her. But so far, honestly, my sleep's okay. Yeah, I can't complain.
You can see the life in Omari's eyes just die because he was really hoping for it. Anybody else? No?
Sorry, Omar.
Hey, it's the joys of fatherhood. So anything you'd appreciate us, all that stuff. We look forward to bringing forward the next episode here between either the Bucks or the Peace Country Cowboys. We'll reach out to you guys, set it up just so we can get it all in, and then get into some of the weeds and the good stuff. So, if anything, if you're in the Alberta Football League chat, we need to stir it up. We need some hot tea, some drama. We all like drama. The AFL is pretty much the secret life of Mormon wives for men. Let's get our own fill in here.
I don't.
Oh God.
Ashley,
If anybody wants to play for the Pack, recruiting, just so you know.
Anyways, see y'all.
Jesus.
Have a good night. All right. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thanks, boys.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Tish.
See you, boys. Thanks.